What is up, Bradford Bass family? Welcome back to the channel. Last time that we spoke, guys, I was throwing around the idea of possibly selling my Tracker Classic XL. And I'm here to tell you that that actually happened. I recently sold the Bass Tracker Classic XL about a month ago, and I have purchased a new boat already, which actually I'm leaning on right now as we speak. But before I show you guys my new boat, I want to talk about the Tracker Classic XL. Then I also want to talk about what went into my decision of purchasing this new boat and how I kind of went about the process. So first and foremost, the Bass Tracker Classic XL was a good boat. I had that boat for 4 years. As most of you guys know, a lot of you guys have Bass Tracker Classic XLs yourself. And I kind of built my YouTube channel, Bradford Bass, around that boat. It started off with me, modifying that boat heavily, and I've seen, I can't tell you how many modifications I've seen out there on these tracker group forums or whatever that have come directly from watching my videos. So I feel like I was a big part of the Tracker Classic community. And overall, it was a good boat, and I love that boat. And it was very hard for me to sell that boat. I'm not gonna lie, there was definitely an emotional attachment to that boat that I knew it was going to be tough, but I didn't realize how much I loved that boat until it was actually gone. That was my first boat that I purchased by myself, and I put a lot of work into it, as you guys have seen through this channel. I did a lot of upgrades to it, and overall, I have nothing really negative to say about the boat. For what the boat is, it did exactly what I needed it to do for what it was. But I think I've said on here a couple times, really my biggest complaints about that boat was nothing really to do with the boat. It was just more personal preference. And that was, I wanted something wider and something with a little bit more storage. That was kind of like my two holdups with that boat. Mainly the width. The Tracker was plenty fast enough for me. It had nothing to do with that. It was easy to launch, easy to load. It was cheap, very good on gas, all those things. An awesome boat. And I highly suggest anybody to go out and purchase that boat if you're looking for your first boat. It's a great boat. But it was just time for me to move on. I wanted to get in something that suited my needs a little bit better as far as size-wise. So I sold the boat about a month ago to a dear friend of mine. His name is Brandon, and he has since then changed the boat quite significantly. I think he's added some power poles to it. He put Ultrex on it. It looks good. It's a sweet rig. And those are a lot of things that I kind of wanted to do and wish I would have done if I could have done it all over again. But at that point, I wasn't going to add any more money into the boat than I already previously had, if that makes sense. So the Tracker Classic XL, she's gone. I know a lot of you guys probably follow this channel because of that boat, and I hope you still stick with me through my new journey. But if you don't, I completely understand. But I'm not taking any of my Tracker videos down. I would be more than happy to still talk about it, answer any questions that you guys may have. Now, getting on to my new boat. So, like I just previously stated, the two biggest things that I was looking for that I felt like I needed to upgrade was I wanted a boat that was wider, and I wanted a boat that just had a better storage layout. Mainly a rod locker. That was a big deal to me. But as I was going through this process, I was thinking to myself, what, I really want to start tournament fishing more. That's another thing, guys. I enjoy fishing tournaments, and I'm not saying I like to do it all the time, but it's something I like to do 2 or 3 tournaments a year. And I just wanted something that was more laid out better for that. I wanted something to bear live well as well. So that was kind of like the start of my thought process, and I almost went all out. I really did. I almost went full on top of my price point. I talked to my wife about it, and I was strongly considering the Nitro Z19 at first with the 200 horsepower Mercury on it. And that boat was sweet. It's a sweet boat and all, but what ultimately ended up changing my mind out of that boat was two things. One, there's a couple of lakes around here that I like to fish a lot that are very hard to access on the ramp. They're like basically gravel boat ramps. They're electric motor only lakes. And because of those, I felt like a big fiberglass boat would have been too much of a pain in the butt to try to get into that lake. So that's one reason I didn't go with it. And the other reason is, ultimately, guys, if I'm being truthful, I don't have as much time to fish as I once did. My son is 13 years old. He'll be turning 14 here before I know it. He's heavily involved in sports, as a lot of you guys know, and it takes up a lot of my time. It really does, and I enjoy it. I'm not trying to make that sound like a negative thing, because I enjoy being there for my son and watching him play sports. But with that, it takes a lot of the time I have to fish, because my weekends are pretty much occupied all through the summer, late summer, fall, and obviously winter. Now, winter don't really matter too much because, our lakes freeze over, but I would still like to go out and fish in the winter, early winter, but it's just not possible with football and wrestling. So that being said, I thought to myself, do I really want this expensive ass boat payment just sitting in my garage for essentially 9 months out of the year? Because I'm mainly fishing April, May, June, a little bit in July. That's kind of like my primary time when I get to fish. My son don't have no spring sports, and he's just training for wrestling right now, a couple nights a week. So I don't have anything there. So that's kind of the time I get to fish. But other than that, the boat would be sitting in the garage. And I was just thinking, do I want this boat payment that's kind of at the very top of my price point, budget-wise, just sitting in my garage, not being used? And that would be hard for me to swallow. It really would. That would be really hard for me to swallow. And my wife was actually all on board for me buying that boat, which I was kind of shocked. But she really liked the Nitro Z19. She's like, just buy it. And it's probably the first time in my life I didn't make a irrational decision. As sexy as that boat was and as much as I really wanted it, I actually made the right decision and really stepped back and thought, is this boat right for me? And ultimately it wasn't. So I didn't go with that, and basically I eliminated the fiberglass option right then and there as well because of the lakes by my house, like we just talked about, and getting access into those lakes. So I eliminate fiberglass basically right there. So then I go down to aluminum, which my first boat was aluminum boat. Obviously the Tracker was. And there's a ton of aluminum options out there, guys. A lot of Mod V options. If I want to say this, if there's one boat that I've ever kind of fancied more than any other boat, that if I had the money, I would buy, no ifs, ands, or buts, and that's a Lund Pro V Bass. I've had my eyes on that boat since I was probably 16, when I say 16 years old, since I was in my early 20s. When that boat first came out, I have wanted that boat for a really long time. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's because, the local dealership here, the outdoor store has them, but I don't know. I just really like those boats a lot, but they are way, way too expensive for me. So that being said, that aluminum boat, which is more like a V-Haul aluminum boat, is set up more like kind of like your traditional bass boats. It's just not my price point. It's $70,000 for the 18-foot model, and that's not going to happen. So really, it kind of put me back down into the Mod V style boats, which is what the Trackers are. So I started looking through all those, and here's the thing about these Mod V aluminum boats. They're all pretty much the same. Excuse me, really? Sorry. Really, they're pretty much the same. There's a few differences here and there, but there's not a lot different to them. It's aluminum hull, the Mod V hull, and it's just, there's the storage layout might be a little bit different. The overall quality might be a little bit different from one brand to the next, but Really, there's not that much difference in them, guys. So I started looking through them though, and I really like the Lund Renegade. I was almost going to buy the Lund Renegade. I was close to buying it, and simply just because Lund has a brand that is very well known in the boating community, and I felt like if I always think like this. I always think resale value with anything that I buy, but Lund has the brand that it will hold its value as far as resale. I mean, Lunds are sought after boats. So the Lund Renegade was something I was looking at, but ultimately I ended up not pulling the trigger because the price wasn't right for what the boat was. For what the boat was, it didn't work out for me. So I didn't go with the Lund. I was looking at the Ranger 198 with the 150 on it. That I found one that had a really good deal on it. It was in Michigan. I reached out to them, was talking to them about that. I was thinking about that, but ultimately I didn't do that either, because what ended up happening, guys, is I just kind of took a step back from everything because it was all kind of overwhelming for me, the boat buying process, because like I said, they're all so similar and it's hard to pick what you want. And I went back to the reason I sold the Tracker Classic. What was the main reasons I sold that boat? Was I wanted a wider boat and I wanted something with better storage. That's really the only reason I sold that boat. So I started thinking, why am I looking at these 19-foot boats? Why am I looking at these 20-foot boats, these 18-foot boats? I don't need all that. I don't have to have that stuff. So once I really took a step back and started thinking that way, it eliminated a lot more boats for me. And another big point for me, guys, too, is I wanted something that fit in my garage. And quite frankly, you could probably fit an 18-foot boat in this garage if you angled it, but I would not have space for my zero turn or anything else. Like, it would be pretty much just a boat in here. And fitting a boat in my garage was more important to me than getting a bigger boat. I wanted something that fit in my garage, that would just stay dry, that I could work on out here, I could rig tackle in. So going with a 17-foot model was kind of where the direction I was going to. But like I said, I was looking at the Lund Renegade, 17-foot model, way too expensive though for what it was. I mean, it was like $40-something thousand almost, way too expensive for a 17-foot boat. It had a 90 horsepower motor on it. I looked at the Tracker 175. I already kind of knew what the Tracker 175 was because I had an uncle that owned one. And, I've been in the Tracker community for a while, so I've seen a lot of their boats. But that boat was still more on the narrow side for what I was looking at. I looked at the Crestliner. I looked at Vexus. I looked at the Ranger RT series. But ultimately what I ended up deciding on, guys, was I ended up buying a Low Stinger 175C. And I'll show you guys right now. Turn the phone around here. So, let me take a little step back here. And I know I'm kind of been rambling in this video, guys, but this is my new boat. This is the Low Stinger 175C. It's a 2024 model. It is brand new. It's never been in the water, but it is last year's model. They just had it left over. I actually drove 6 hours one way to the very far side of Indiana to pick this boat up because I got a really good deal on this boat. I ended up paying for this boat, I think, $23,000. But what really sold it for me was this one comes with a 75 horsepower motor, and most of them come with a 60 horsepower. So to get one for 23 grand with a 75 horsepower motor on it was hard to turn down. And I like Low. My dad had a Low growing up when I was a kid, and it was a good boat to us. Now, it wasn't like this, but he did have a Low. So Low is kind of, I've been aware of Low for a long time. But it's hard to find Low boats in Ohio. I will say that. There's not a whole lot of Low dealerships in Ohio, so there's a lot of them in Indiana. But Getting into the boat. So like I said, it comes with a 75 horsepower Mercury 4-stroke, has a 4-blade prop on it. Comes with these nice wheels, which, you know, my tracker didn't have. It's got these nice wheels on it, nice graphics. It's got these raised graphics, low graphics. Not a whole lot of fanciness to the trailer right now. Then it comes with a spare tire, which is actually the same wheel as the ones that are on it, which is nice. Breakaway tongue, you can see there. It fits in the boat straight. It fits in the garage. Excuse me. It fits in the garage straight on. It's tight. It's definitely tighter than my tracker was. The boat's about a foot longer than the tracker was. Not quite a foot. It's like 10 inches longer technically from the back end to the nose. But it fit. But it was tight. But I didn't have to angle it, which was really nice. So I still have all this room on this side of my garage as well. The main reason that I really like this boat a lot more than probably any of the other ones is the width. Guys, this boat is wide. And I know it's gonna be hard to tell from this view, but this boat is wide. It's way wider than the Classic was. It might only probably be a foot wider technically, but it looks so much wider than that. This thing's like a barge. It carries the width of the boat all the way up to the front before it doesn't narrow down until it gets to the very, very front, which is nice. But it's just a really wide boat. Trolling motor wise, it comes with a Minn Kota Edge. This one came with actually the 70-pound thrust, 24 volt, which is right there. You can see it sitting there. I took it off, trying to sell it. And I already upgraded to an 80-pound Minn Kota Ultrex. I got that on there right now. Graph wise, it didn't really come with any graphs. It comes with this little tiny thing right here, just kind of like the Classic does, which that's going to be coming off. I actually already bought a Garmin 10-inch model that I pick up on Tuesday or Wednesday this week, which will be going right there on the dash. And then at some point, I'm going to be putting hopefully a 12-inch up front. But the front graph's probably going to have to wait for a little bit. The wife has kind of got on me about spending money. She's tired of me spending money already. So that's kind of the outside of the boat there, guys. I love the look of it. Black, you guys know I like black. You know, I got a black truck. My old boat was black. The fact that this was a black boat at the right price, I couldn't turn it down. So here's the outside of it, and I'll get into it now and kind of show you guys a little bit more inside of it. Before I climb into it, I'll show you here. A couple of these compartments in the back. You can actually put 3 Plano 3700 boxes in these. I just got a bunch of random, you know, G-juice, stuff like that down there. My balance beam, you know, gloves, bump board, stuff like that. There's 2 of these. There's one here and one over there as well. Let me climb up in here now. You know, starting in the back, it is definitely not as nice as the tracker in the back was. It's way tighter back here. You see the big gas? I can't remember how many gallons this is, but there's 3 batteries in there right now, and it is tight. Now you could probably shift these over a little bit and give yourself a little bit more room, but it's tight in there. You definitely don't have the same amount of space in the back that you have in the tracker, that's for sure. But it's what it is. So coming up here to the front, there's another one of these compartments that we just talked about on this side. And I've got some cleaning stuff in there right now. You're gonna see a lot of stuff in these compartments. That's probably gonna end up moving, guys. I just start throwing stuff in here, but this is the live well, one of the live wells in the back. Very large live well, which is nice. Did not have this in my tracker, obviously. This is the back one. This will be the live well that I primarily use the most. Comes with like a bait bucket holder. I don't need that, but it does come with that. And it also comes with dividers as well. So that's the back. Underneath the seats, very similar to the tracker. Seats fold up, you got storage under there. Same thing with this one, the driver's seat. You got storage underneath there. And I will say that this whole bench that this sits on like this, that's all hollow underneath. I don't know why they did not make a storage access underneath here. The boat actually comes with a seat right here. You can see it sitting right there on my zero turn seat. I took it out. One is I rarely ever fish with 3 people, and if I ever did, I could just put that seat back on there and just set it there. I would rather have the floor space. So I got rid of that seat. I'm gonna probably put a couple cup holders in there. And then like I did on my tractor, I'm gonna recess another box, like a dry box right there in the middle. Just for my daily essential stuff, you know, like wallet, keys, stuff like that. So that's the front, or the back, I should say. Here's the console. The console is very nice. It's a nice console compared to what the trackers were. I'll just say that. It's still pretty basic. You got fuel gauge, speed, RPMs. You know, you got all your selector switches here. Nothing real fancy. You got a couple USB ports over here, but nothing real fancy. But it's just an overall nicer console. It's like a fiberglass, so it's nice. And then obviously, guys, I'll be mounting a bigger screen here in the near future. So I'll try to give you guys the overall front deck. It's hard to tell probably from the camera, but it is way wider, guys. Way wider. Also, real quick, here on the side, there's like this ramp for like a co-angler's rod. You can get 6, 7 rods in there. They just go on this little ramp right here. Coming up to the front, oh, real quick right here. This comes with a box right here, like a step box, and it's actually a box that opens up. I took it out. It's just, I would rather have the floor space. Taking that box out gives so much more room down here in the bottom to walk around. I would personally just rather have the floor space. So I took it out. It's sitting over there on top of the shelf over there. If I ever want to put it back in, it'd be easy to put back in, but I'd rather have the floor space. So getting up to the front, the main reason that I wanted something different, obviously, was the storage. And this comes with a nice rod locker. I really like this rod locker. I like the rod lockers that sit to the side of the boat more than the ones that are in the middle of the boat. It doesn't have any tubes in it, which I love. It's just a big open hole up there. Right now I have 11, 12 rods in here. And guys, I'm telling you, you can get another 15, 20 rods in here easily. Like, you could pack this thing full. So it's just a big open compartment. You just pack rods in there. That's exactly what I wanted. So it's that. Sorry, got stuff all over here. I'm sorry, guys, for the camera. I'm trying to hold the camera and walk and talk and chew gum at the same time. So this little compartment over here is nice. This is kind of where I have like my life jackets and everything. I got life jackets down there. I got my throw cushion, safety paddle. I got like all my lights down there, my poles. I mean, this compartment goes up under there a little bit, so you can fit like longer stuff in this compartment as well. Nice compartment. All right. One thing I don't like about this boat, guys, is, and actually I can honestly say I hate about this boat, is this right here. So this boat is technically made for crappie fishermen in mind, I think. So they put a second live well up here, which is one thing. I don't want a second live well, but not only that, is the thing opens up towards the back of the boat. So the live well itself opens up away from the front. So it's a pain in the ass to get into if you're, towards the back of the boat. I hate this. I can honestly say I hate this. I think this is the stupidest design ever. Now, maybe if you're a crappie fisherman, you want to turn around and just toss your fish in there. I get it, but I will never probably use this. There might be a cooler, a trash box. I don't know. Right now I got a fishing line down in there, but it's a waste of space. I would rather this be a big storage compartment personally, and I might end up turning it into one at some point. But right now, just gonna leave it. So, and then the last compartment up front here is the main tackle storage, which has gas struts and everything, which is nice. You know, one thing you'll notice too is like the welding on these braces are a lot better than what the tracker was. You know, they're just tack welded on the tracker. A lot better beads on there, a lot stronger. But guys, this is a really nice compartment. I mean, there is a crap ton of boxes in here. You can't even see them all. Some of them go up underneath there. But there's a ton of tackle in here with more room to spare. So there's no shortage of storage for fishing tackle, that's for sure. So that's that. Comes with a recessed flip pedal tray. I will say another thing that's really nice is up front there, it comes with a trim switch. Right there where the trolling motor pedal plugs in, there's a switch to trim up the motor, which I always wanted to put one of those on the Classic. I never did. But that's handy, so you ain't got to walk to the back of the boat to trim the motor up. It also has this track system on it. I don't know what they call it, but you can see it's like a groove that runs all the way around the boat, and that's what these cleats are into, and you can actually slide these cleats wherever you want down this track. And it runs all the way around or down the boat on both sides. So there's other like little accessories and stuff you can attach there if you want, but I probably won't do much with that. So overall, guys, that's the boat. I know it's kind of a long video and I'm kind of all over the place and huffing and puffing, but this is what we got. Now, you will start seeing more videos come out about this boat in time here as I do more modifications to it. I just wanted to give you guys a quick tour of it, show you what I got, show you what I'm going to be working with probably for the next 20 years. Hopefully it lasts that long. Because quite frankly, you know, getting this boat built now to how I want it and rigged out, it's kind of annoying. You know, I'm ready to go fishing. I don't really like, you know, I mounted that trolling motor. That took me about all day to get the old one off and get that on by myself. It took me probably 6 hours to do it. I don't like the whole boat rigging process, so I want to get this thing rigged how I want it. And I want to be done for years to come. And that's the plan. So that's all I got, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got a good gist. If there's anything you want to see about the boat that I missed, I'm sure there's something I missed, just let me know. Yeah, that's all I got, guys. Everybody stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.